I like to joke about the man box, which is like you can only be a man if you fulfill these certain qualities and you stay within this this square of like you're in your man box and you're safe in the man box. And something about, for some men, about going near feminism is a step out of the man box.
The most important thing any white feminist can do is educate herself and listen and engage with the experiences of women of color without silencing them. Because sometimes as white ladies, we just have to shut the fuck up.
I hate Katy Perry. I hate Natalie Portman.
You're raping me! This is rape! This is rape! This is rape!
Relax.
Okay.
Relax your arms.
It's relaxed.
Stop fighting with me.
It's relaxed.
Stop fighting with me. Stop fighting.
All right? I'm not fighting.
Part of feminism is the freedom to let other women make choices you don't necessarily understand. So while you may not want to walk out with like tape, like X's on your nipples and booty shorts, that may be the strong feminist choice for another woman. And even if you can't imagine yourself in her shoes, part of your job as a feminist is just to support her.
Welcome to Last Man on Earth. My name is Lex Jurgen. As always, I'm flanked by Matt Ralston. Like wealthy Democratic donor Ed Buck, young black men keeps winding up dead in Matt's West Hollywood apartment. Unlike Buck, who engaged in binge nights of sex and drugs, Matt skipped the drugs. That's a. Were you part of the? How far away, by the way, do you live from the apartment where he kills all the young black guys?
Like 50 feet.
Do you really?
50 yards, I guess.
Did you see the protests?
No. I don't really drive down that street. It's a block over.
You know how we talked about last week how there hasn't been like a Black Lives March like in a long time? Mm-hmm. They actually marched against Ed Buck. I don't know if you saw that.
The first time a black fuckboy died in his house, they marched.
Oh, really? Like a year ago, you mean?
Yeah. And now the same thing happened. I would think they'd be twice as angry, if not more. Yeah, exponentially more, really, because now it's like a pattern.
The weird part was that the first guy seemed to be a clear rent boy. The second guy was older. I think he was in his 30s. And also he has a roommate there in West Hollywood who was like an Italian visitor of some kind, who seemed on the up and up. It claims that he never once saw him do drugs or any kind of drugs ever. So is it possible he was like a newbie and Buck got him into the drugs and he just didn't, was like he was a first timer? It's possible, I guess. Maybe
I don't know.
Low on rent and he went over there and Ed Buck did his thing and the guy died.
Well, I don't know. I don't think you initiate yourself into drugs by shooting up meth.
Did you see the reports of the first guy though? Jamel, whatever his name was, from like a year and a half ago. He wrote in his journal how Ed Buck was responsible for his first crystal meth injections.
Yeah, I was reading in some kind of article, I can't remember, during the first guy who died of meth at Ed Buck's house.
Ed Buckness. Fuck my Buck.
First go around. Yeah, can we get some T-shirts? I guess his thing is, so he does meth, obviously, but he gets off on watching other people get real fucked up on meth and tweaking out.
I don't know how to understand how this works. You've been involved in more relationships like this. Does the old rich guy actually do the drugs as well?
Yeah,
but
but
just feed him to the young boy.
I think it's akin to like if you had a kegger and you wanted to like get some girls buzzed, you'd have a couple drinks, but maybe you're not doing all the shots and everything.
Do you think he does like the fake shoot up where he shoot up like sugar solution or something? Like, come on, man, another shot. Let's do shot for shot. Like, come on, pussy. And he's got like the non-alcoholic beverage, and the other guy's got the speedball.
I don't know. It seems hard to. It seems so Breaking Bad in terms of how to engineer that. Like, you got to really know what you're doing. Like, to me, when I think of shooting up meth, I'm like, I have no idea how that works. Like, if you told me right now to shoot up meth, I'd be like, I can't. No. I don't know what to do.
I think he has a whole kit there, and he has a program and a process for all these guys who come over, and he knows exactly. I mean, he seems to know exactly what he's doing. I say that the two guys have died, but I assume there's been hundreds of guys there before. So it's a routine. It's a routine he does.
Well, anytime someone and I would apply this to, drinking absinthe or doing shots of Bacardi 151 or, instead of smoking pot, it's like, okay, now I have this contraption that costs $200. That's not enough. Now I'm going to fill a 5-gallon bucket with water and cut a milk jug. And like at a certain point, it's like, dude, why is it not enough to get fucked up? Like, why you can get as fucked up if you apply yourself on Bud Light.
So he basically likes the dudes. He likes the dudes like crawling around the floor, basically out of their minds. It's kind of his thing.
I think that's his thing.
Fetal position, like it's just zoned out of their minds, and he just does weird Cosby shit to them.
Yeah, that's the impression I get. I mean, he makes their hearts explode.
Here's how I know he doesn't. Here's how you know a guy doesn't do anything. He's listed as Democratic donor in every story. Like he hasn't actually had a job for 30 years, so he made a lot of money in the 80s on this insurance, some kind of insurance scam business.
Yeah,
and I mean, he made millions and millions of dollars, and then I guess he just invested money and made millions more, and then he just donates money to high-profile Democrats, mostly gay, I assume, or other Democrats. But he doesn't. He's just a Democratic donor. He just described his Democratic donor Ed Buck. Like,
I know. To be a donor, don't you have to have an income? I mean, I understand he has money, but yeah, that's not a job.
He did make his own money from all accounts, but I think he retired like at 35. So he spent the last 30 years just. I mean, in one way, I want to applaud him because he made a lot of money. He retired at 35, and he just spent the last 30 years having just oodles of gay sex with young men.
Yeah,
I mean, if it was young women, we kind of applaud him in a way. But
yeah,
and it wasn't killing. It wasn't killing people. If he was just like, if some 35-year-old tech guy just retired at 35 said, "I'm just gonna spend the next 30 years like fucking hot women," we'd be like, "All right, dude." That's
like McAfee. That's what McAfee did.
He was nuts though too, and the drugs. And
well, they all get into meth. I don't know. I don't know at what point you're like, man, I don't really have much to do. I guess
I think not having a job for 30 years.
Is it a gateway? I mean, do you start drinking a bottle of wine in the morning and then you're like, fuck, I just, I gotta give myself more anxiety. And
I can see why I can see why if I was a rent boy, I'd want to be pretty fucked up all the time. I think I would just want to be unaware of my circumstances.
We gotta arrest this guy. Just because Trump is going to use this as a talking point, as he probably should.
Yeah.
This Democratic, this guy who's entrenched in the Democratic Party.
Well, it could be. It doesn't. I mean, I think the point is corruption. Obviously, he has connections. Well, so he ran for West Hollywood City Council. You ran for West Hollywood City Council. So you know the kind of person who runs for West Hollywood City Council. And by the way, you lost to guys who are like openly corrupt, gay, like
part of being
hooker pimps.
Well, you have a lot of money. You know the thing I learned from running for city council in West Hollywood, in gay West Hollywood.
I was your only donor. It's on my record.
This is
you can look it up.
No, I had a few, but yeah, you did. I appreciated that. Hopefully, you were able to write it off. I got the most votes per dollar by far, by the way.
Yes.
So I realized that if I ever cared enough, I could put up enough money and win. But
yeah, so did the Libertarian candidate in the presidential election, or the Green candidate. That doesn't get you very far.
You know what I noticed from running, and this is a hot take. All gay guys are perverts.
Yes.
Almost every gay guy that I was involved, and these are professional people that are paid, and they all said really creepy gay shit to me.
And you're saying that not because they like other men, just because they like a perverse. They're perverse about sex about other men.
They're freewheeling.
Yes.
They don't have any hang-ups. No. I know that.
No.
So
like a heterosexual swinger, basically, but they're gay.
Yeah, but it seems like a pack mentality. Like, I don't know. Like, obviously, they're all fucking each other and saying shit, but I think when they see a straight guy in the mix, they all kind of huddle together and are like, how can we, somehow have consensual sex with this guy? And I had to say on multiple times, no. How do you think this would play out?
Don't you feel like a woman? Now you feel like a woman in Hollywood. I've only had one experience in my life where I really felt I was being undressed by men. I don't get that very often. You get it far more often than I do, I'm sure. When I had to get an emergency haircut, and I was in the West Hollywood area, so I went to Supercuts. I thought, like, okay, I got to get a haircut. I'm in West Hollywood. Like, I literally had, like, a meeting in, like, 20 minutes, and I was just looking ragged. So I needed a haircut, like, right away, and I just said, show me, ask Siri the closest Supercuts. I figured that would be safe, like a chain store. I'm not going to go into, like, Paul's Boutique, right, in West Hollywood.
You didn't want to get stuck with a $200 tab.
No, and I don't want to get my hair cut by a man wearing a blouse. And so I just went to Supercuts, and there literally were, it was like the white gay version of Barbershop, the movie. There were 6 gay dudes, like 20, 30-something gay dudes, like in the chairs, not getting haircuts, just hanging out and whistling at me. I was just like, what? Like, oh, man, what do you, they're like, oh, hot stuff coming in for a haircut. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I'm a chubby, middle-aged Jewish man coming to get, like, what hair I have left trimmed. They're like, and they were, like, doing the whole thing, like, looking at my ass. I'm like, I'm in baggy jeans or whatever. I'm like, I'm a slob. Like, like they were literally just 6 guys, just like, it was like the construction site, just hooting and hollering, just like hanging out there waiting for guys to walk in.
Yeah, and they're probably, I found in my neighborhood, I found a stylist, a Russian woman, who didn't fuck up my hair. They try and make you look gay, I swear to God.
Oh, sure.
And so now I have to pay $50, including tip, for a haircut. Or maybe it's 60, I can't remember. But at least it's not fucked up. But I think when you and I go into a hair place like that, and it's these gay guys that get a haircut like twice a week, I don't know where they're getting all this money for all this shit. But
it is like the black barbershop experience, right? It's like a cultural social thing.
Yeah, but the black barber costs like $11.
Oh yeah, but I mean, just to hang out, that's your social club kind of thing.
Yeah, they kind of hang out, but they're looking at us like, how do you achieve that look? And it's like, well, we're not obsessed with our hair. You fucking.
I screamed at a Supercuts lady for charging me $18, and she told me it's a new price. And they also won't take my coupons from the '90s anymore, which is really upsetting me. This week's show is sponsored by the old, weird-looking people who run our country. After seeing Trump and Pelosi and Schumer, there's no doubt that our nation is led by hairspray, cosmetic-colored, and early-stage Alzheimer's. Old, weird-looking people who run our country, can we get some kind of hopeful estimate as to when you might die? That was just the creepy. Going from Trump to Pelosi and Schumer, like just a bunch of 70-year-old like wax figurines. People who look like their future wax figurines in the shop. I mean, there are, I suppose, dynamic younger people in each party who could speak, who are more well-spoken and certainly better looking. I don't know why, like, what's this insistence on having the old people, like, do everything, like, do all the shilling?
No.
It's unappealing. If I just came from another country and I saw these people, Democrat or Republican, I'd be like, why do you have, like, 75-year-old fake makeup face, weird-looking, eye-twitching people running your country? Don't you have any 40-year-olds who could do some shit around here?
It's a lesson you would think would be learned by now, although I saw, like, on Twitter, a lot of people were freaking out about how weird-looking Chuck and Nancy are, but if you had to rate how weird-looking the 3 people featured on that really pointless address were, to me, Trump looks freakishly weird, and they look kind of weird. Like, I would say Trump is like a 9.
He looks like a cartoon. He looks like a cartoon character.
Yeah,
and they look like they're. I mean, other than her massive number of facelifts, she's 78 years old. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah,
I mean, she's an old lady. She is an old lady. Like,
she looks it.
I mean, men and women aren't working at 78 in general. There's no job really where you work at 78 full time.
Right.
But she looks like, if you look from far away, she looks like she's 50. But close up, she has all the facial surgery taught weird, sort of Skeletor thing going on. But the problem was they put makeup on them. And Chuck Schumer is just a normal-looking New York Jew, old Jew, There's not like nothing special about his looks. But they put so much makeup on them as if they were dressing like a stadium. And then they panned the camera and really they closed up on the camera to their faces. And you could see all the makeup, just the reddish rouge makeup. It looked like like they'd been embalmed.
Yeah, it looked like when, in various movies where a known actor plays a known politician, be it, Nixon or Kennedy or Vice with the most recent one, and they put the makeup on the actor to make them look like the guy. Yes. That's what Chuck Schumer looks like of himself, but it's him doing himself. I'm like, why don't you just take this makeup off?
It looked a little bit like Team America puppets. It's just weird. And if I were the Democrats, I would just put Ocasio-Cortez like in a low-cut top out there every single time.
Yeah.
Because even though she's not a particularly strong speaker, she's just, who cares? I mean, who cares? Having a 30-year-old like dynamic hot chick would just be so much better than anything else like old people can say. I'm sure there's some young, I'm not sure, there's probably some younger Republican who can push it too, but just having old people fight is just, it's something unseemly about listening to old people like tell you
I
what
know.
to do.
I'm like, she should be at a country club,
Yes.
gossiping about her granddaughter, and he should be at the same club playing golf.
And they're all I mean, he's more rich, I suppose, or whatever. But they're all like wealthy, old, weird-looking, toupee, made-up senior living home people. It's such an off-putting. I look at Macron, like in France, as shitty a job as he's doing. At least he looks like he's like energetic and youthful, and like, or the guy from what's his name, the beta male from Canada. At least they run around. They got on horseback. They ride in cars. They they look like they're alive.
No, you get the impression, like, if you bumped into him, that you would, like, break all their bones or something. Like, I had this dude in Hawaii, my parents' neighbors, he was a 90-year-old Japanese guy, and he started leaning against a tree, and he couldn't unlean against the tree.
Yes.
So he was
I'm
just
starting to get
stuck.
those feelings.
He was just stuck at this, 60-degree angle. So my mom said, help him get. So I grabbed his hand and jerked him up, and then I almost body slammed him the other way. Like his entire body weighed like 40 pounds, and then I caught him, and he didn't know what was going on. Like, I think he missed the whole thing, but I almost killed him accidentally. And I get that impression with those too, like they're paper mache or something.
Yeah, well, they're just old. I mean, they're literally just old people. I mean, you had grandparents and been around old people. They're fragile. And then when they're trying to pretend that they're not fragile and they're forceful and passionate, it just comes. It's like almost like an 8-year-old giving a passionate speech. It just seems weird. And the whole idea that like you become better. I believe this whole thing. You become wiser with age. But I think like 20 years of experience, like in your 40s or 50s, is enough to be the wisest you can be.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you get that much wiser between like 50 and 75. Like there's nothing where like at 50 you're a dumbass, but at 75 you're a genius. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and I think that's why our leaders have traditionally. I mean, Trump's just a ball of dough. I mean, you punch him in the gut, and he'd probably.
But even like imagine Trump like 25, 30 years ago in the 90s when he was promoting fights and stuff. At least he had real hair, and he looked like a normal guy, and he was boisterous and arrogant. But at least he seemed like a normal dude. I mean, he walked around New York and high-five people, and so like that. He seemed like a normal. He was still the same Trump, but he seemed like a normal-looking dude. And now he's just become like this caricature. And I assume Nancy Pelosi in her 30s and Chuck Schumer in her 40s were fairly normal-looking people.
Yeah, there's something sad about getting old. I mean, you're dying. That's why I think presidents have traditionally, obviously there's some exceptions, but in that 50 to 60-year-old range where you have that solid old man strength, you're not going to fight a bunch of rounds.
No.
But like in a bar fight situation, Joe Biden or George Bush or the first George Bush. Sorry, the second George Bush. First George Bush, he looked like a fucking wimp. But
second George Bush looked like he played some pickup football.
Point being, most presidents look like they're solid. Like you can't tip them over.
Like
you could play that old man strength.
You could play hoop with them or something.
Yeah, they'd box out, post you up, put the butt on you.
Yes,
yeah.
They could wear a hoodie without looking incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
This is we got to get younger people.
They go to the gym in weird clothes.
Yes,
but they can lift a lot.
In jeans, they wear jeans to the gym.
Jeans and like a weird starchy black hoodie with like the sleeves cut off at a weird angle.
I love those, and they always carry. By the way, a giant jug of water. I'm not sure why. Like, do you need a gallon? Like, you literally have a gallon of colored water with you. You can't drink a gallon of water. Why are you carrying a gallon of water with you? Like 16 ounces will be fine.
Yeah.
So they carry that giant jug around from station to station.
The jug, the gloves, fingerless gloves,
the belt. The belt.
Sometimes they'll just use landscaping gloves. They don't give a fuck, which is what troubles me.
I love that. Don't forget to become a patron of the show on patreon.com/lastminute.earth. Thanks to our new patrons. Don't deplatform us, please. Patreon.com. Get on the shit now. Become a donor before we have to go. Like I don't know, where does like Alex Jones go out of? Costa Rica or Israel? Someplace we have to go offshore.
I think he's in like a hollowed out mountain in the fucking probably Arizona.
Probably. Did you see? By the way, did you watch the show Homeland?
No, I haven't.
They did a great. The character in the last season was a radio guy. He was supposed to be Alex Jones. He's supposed to be a TV radio guy. He's like a alt-right, like reactionary, like radio show host. He was like very popular with the gun and militia crowd. Mm-hmm. And they just did a great takeoff of Alex Jones. I don't even know, but they did a great takeoff of that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Who turned out to like just get a lot of people killed at the end because he was such a fucking idiot. Like you knew he was a phony, but he didn't even realize where his phony line began and ended.
Yeah.
So he had all these dumb gun nuts looking up to him, and so he didn't really even know how to quit it. And then the kids ended up getting killed because of basically because of him. So if you wish to contact the show, hit us up on Twitter at Last Minute Podcast or Facebook, also Last Minute Podcast. All right, on to the show. Matt, this is a question about, let's just start off with R. Kelly. Did you see the documentary on Lifetime?
I haven't seen it yet, no.
The something of R. Kelly. I like when they come out with, Hollywood does an expose on somebody like Weinstein or R. Kelly or someone like, and everyone suddenly pretends they just learned this information. Like, they just learned all this bad information about somebody, and now they're going to boycott him, not work with anymore, disavow him. The police are going to investigate. Well, it's just like Weinstein. Everybody in the business has known for the past 25 years that R. Kelly likes manipulating and grooming underage girls.
I feel like I've known that since I was the age of those girls. It's been around forever.
The urination tape was 2002.
Right.
So it's like, I didn't know he was really doing stuff. I knew he peed on 15-year-old girls and was accused of raping multiple freshmen in high school. But I always just thought that was just innuendo. Like, there was a court case. There was a massive court case. There was a tape of him peeing on a young girl. I mean, what do you mean that was like urban legend or speculation? It wasn't like, you hear bad things about, like, brush it off. Oh, you hear bad things about famous people all the time. I just disregarded it.
I just remembered a joke that I had about that. Like when I first started comedy, I'm fucking it up now, but it was like R. Kelly and Kobe are both rapists, but Kobe got a pass because he's got the fundamentals down. Like the peeing in the mouth is like, that's a move that
on tape.
Yeah, it's just that's a traveling basically.
That's just I don't like have no remorse kind of thing.
Yeah, that's
just like I own this fucking world. I mean, people in Chicago. So he came up in Chicago. I have relatives and friends in Chicago. They've known about him since he was a younger guy, and since he just first hit it in the late 90s. You're talking about 20, 25 years ago now when he started becoming big, and he was like into these young underage girls. He'd buy them jewelry. He'd have sex with them.
He married Aaliyah when she was 15 or 16. I think she was 15.
Well, the charges now, he had sex with her when she was 14 on the bus in front of other people. But so it's like the Lifetime documentary comes out. Now everyone gets to pretend Lady Gaga just said she did that racy music video with him like 4 years ago, and like where she was Marilyn Monroe and he was JFK in the White House.
Missed that.
Yeah,
sounds terrible.
It was horrible, but it was the visuals were pretty interesting because he was basically having sex with her in the Oval Office. It was like a Clinton-esque, but she was Marilyn. It was a weird, but it was like a sexy song they did. I don't know, but now she's disavowing it, says she's going to remove any versions of the song on Pandora or Spot, like as if we didn't know for the last so many years that R. Kelly, trapped in the closet. He's probably the most infamous, like, Jerry Lee Lewis type pedophile in. Forget, like, all the guys we found out about later on, like Kevin. Like, oh, we learned about Kevin Spacey. Oh, how do we not know about this? Like, it's so ridiculous.
For you to be in the industry, like, I knew about it when I was a 19-year-old idiot from Alaska.
Yes.
So you are, a huge recording star, and you just skipped that whole thing. You'd never heard of it.
No,
never at a party. Never. No one ever brought it up.
Obviously, her label made her do that. Her label said, we got this hot song we're doing with R. Kelly. He's got two top 10 hits right now or whatever. We're going to do this and blow you up, and you're going to make... And so you do it. I get that. But don't fucking pretend like, like you've just learned about his offenses on a Lifetime documentary this past week. Yeah. Hollywood loves to fucking... they did with Weinstein. Like, Weinstein was winning awards up to the week before he was outed in the New Yorker or New York Times.
Yeah.
It's just... how do you get away with like pretending you didn't know people were just horrible fucking criminal ass people for 25 years?
I don't know. And I still don't know how I come down on the whole separating the art from the artist thing and whatever. It's a long conversation, but when the artist is clearly a pedophile,
yes,
and his art is laughably awful.
Yeah,
like if you showed it to me and told me it was a skit from the Chappelle Show,
it's laughably awful, but extremely popular among women, especially. He sold a shit ton of. You say it's anything about Kanye, but he sold R. Kelly sold a shit ton of records.
Dude, he's like freestyling in this arrhythmic pattern, and he can't sing. It's different. It seems like what you would see a crackhead doing on the sidewalk.
Well, maybe. I'm not arguing that you're wrong. I'm just saying I've seen concerts where there are just thousands of women fucking having orgasms in the audience as he like does his crotch grabbing.
Well,
slow
look,
songs.
I'm not trying to say I'm better than everyone because I don't think that, but I think I'm better than a lot of people, and I think I'm better than anyone who's a fan of R. Kelly.
Well,
I really believe that.
Well, there's still people. I mean, here's the problem. There's still his fan base, and I know this from ever saying anything about Lady Gaga on Twitter. His fan base is still defending him.
Right.
I mean, the documentary comes out, and I'm sure it is one-sided. Of course, it's one-sided because why would you make a documentary where we kind of found some evidence, but it wasn't that strong, and kind of mixed. We're not really sure. End of it, documentary.
Yeah.
Of course, like making a murder or anything else, you got to frame a very strong position to get media attention, get people to watch it. So, of course, it shows him as this fucking animal, and everybody's a little bit more complex than that or complicated than that. But his fans are just decrying. They see it. They're like, it's a hit piece, and he's amazing, and I still love him.
Who are and that's every Trump supporter, by the way. But
yeah. Although, by the way, I would say that's not much different than the Lakers giving Kobe a standing ovation when he came back from his sex assault trial.
No, it's not.
This is for women what sports guys who beat their wives are for men. We forgive them if they're on our team pretty easily.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's like a tribal thing deep down, but there's no one who, let's just say celebrity-wise, someone I don't know personally, that I would defend against all evidence, including like videotape. Like, can you name someone that you would just blindly stand by in the face of all reason?
Steph Curry. Steph Curry and his fake moon landing thoughts. I don't care what he thinks. Although he would never hurt it. He would never hurt anybody.
They got these deep fakes now, man. So every time, if that happened now, or let's say a year from now, R. Kelly would just say someone made that on deep fakes. That's just a fake tape.
The tape of him?
Yeah.
He
would just say it's a manufactured it's fake news.
We all saw that in 2002, so that went around. TMZ has copies of all this shit.
Yeah. I'm just saying if this
this
is like things to come. People are just going to say that any evidence has been manufactured by a computer program, and there will be no truth, and we're all going to die.
The Ocasio-Cortez fake nudes. Like some Republican found like they're going around. They're actually literally going around her neighborhood paying money. People give them like dirt on her, and they're trying to pay for nude photos of her and racy photos of her, which I assume, by the way, must exist somewhere because she's a bartender. She was a bartender, and she's a young girl.
Bartenders take nude photos.
Well, there's a stat out like this came out last year that like they think 2/3 or more of all women 30 and under now have digital nudes of them somewhere.
I have a catalog of most every chick I've ever dated.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like it's become either they took them themselves or their boyfriend took it. And it's not saying that they don't control them themselves necessarily, but they're stored somewhere in the fucking cloud or somewhere. It's like 2/3 of women 30 and under have had their photos of them taken naked.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't think less of her if she did. I'm just saying they're out there somewhere. So I wish a really rich Republican would find them and pay for them so we could see the real ones. But would I work with a guy who, like, if I found out the guy peed on a 15-year-old girl? No, I would never work with that person again.
Right.
I don't care. I mean, there's a lot of pressure when you're up and coming to go along and get along with some bad people. But I don't think if someone said, oh yeah, this guy wants to do a job with you, and by the way, he used to pee on 15-year-old girls, I'd be like, nah, I don't need to work that. I don't need to work that bad.
Yeah,
I get it. It's such a double fucking Hollywood standard. Not Ashley Graham, your favorite fat girl. I don't know if you know she's been married for 7 years.
Yeah, she's married to a black guy.
Is she really? How about that? How about that?
No, I don't know why I mentioned that. Just
because she's heavyset. Because she's the world's only paid heavyset model.
Yeah,
she's opened the floodgates for bigger size female models to nobody else except for herself. Like she gets like $5 million a year, and the rest of fat models have to go through like $50. They all share amongst themselves and like fetish videos or something.
I saw her in the parking lot at PF Chang's.
Did you?
No. Sorry, the shittier PF Panda Express. Oh yeah.
Oh no, was she eating there?
No, she was picking up.
Oh, not. She would take out a panda. That's fucking low. Does she look good? She looks good, I bet.
No, well,
just large.
If you like, thick women.
If you're a black dude who likes thicker women.
If you're,
but she's very
on
pretty.
The Lakers or the Clippers.
She's a very pretty lady. She's a model-looking lady. She's just as large, and I mean, she's not just heavy. She's also tall. I think she's 5'9" or something. So. She's like a Khloe Kardashian, size.
She's at the level where if it's a commuter flight, you're gonna have to switch some people around in the aisles.
Oh, really?
Different.
Really?
Seats. Yeah.
She got
Who
big.
do you think weighs more, her or me? I'm a fairly large guy.
Women always surprise me with how fat they can be and still not weigh that much.
Right.
Just because they don't have a lot of muscle mass. Despite her 60-second workout videos where she rips like the fucking cowbell, the fucking one of those kettlebells and stuff like that, and it does like high-end aerobics for P90 for like 60 seconds or some shit like that.
When you have to edit a 60-second workout, that's not a good sign.
By the way, as another sidetrack, I saw a Krav Maga infomercial last night. And I didn't realize, so they're selling Krav Maga tapes, how to do Krav Maga.
I don't really know what that is.
It's the Israeli Defense Force military training. And it's I don't know if they have in West Hollywood, but around here they have tons of like these Krav Maga training centers, especially for women for self-defense. It's like the hot new Taekwondo or karate. It's Krav Maga.
In case you have to kill any Palestinians.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it is a self-defense based on basically killing your attacker.
Right.
And a lot of fucking nut punching going on.
Huh.
That's a lot of like the whole. I sort of seem to be the whole idea is that like when people attack you, like they put you in a headlock or they grab you around the shoulders or they do whatever, they almost entirely leave their genital region exposed.
Yeah.
And so the very first thing you do when you're attacked, literally, because a guy never attacks you and like covers up his genitals.
Right.
Is you just, and this could be a man on man or a man on woman, you just pound the crap out of his genitals like 3 times with quick strikes. And then you can pretty much do what you want to him. Like, it's actually it's vicious, but it's actually kind of genius because they showed like all these different attack positions, and every single one, you can take your at least one free hand and just punch the crap out of the guy's nuts. And it disarms them to the point that then you can do whatever you want with them pretty much.
I haven't taken a good nut shot in years and years, but... Oh my God, it's the worst.
Yes.
I mean, getting kicked in the balls.
Yeah,
I mean, even that can ruin your balls.
And you don't need to. They do these. They do it with like not a punch, but like a slap.
Yeah.
And it's like it's apparently it disables the body's senses, the male attacker, like for 2 seconds. So they release, it's like a whole, like your whole body just kind of releases, and then you can just do the fucking punch to the nose. They always teach the punch to the nose.
The slap is, scientifically, I think there's some basis for that, because sometimes getting your nuts grazed is like more painful than actually getting hit with a softball in your nuts. I don't know what the science is behind that.
It was kind of genius. The only part I couldn't understand was how the guy who was the attacker, played the attacker in all the roles, got through his job, because... He was basically not slapped like over and over again. I assume he was wearing a cup or something, but, I mean, think about it. So then you go for the eyes. After that, you go for the eyes and the nose.
And if you chop someone in the Adam's apple, too. I don't know if they teach
But
that.
like they're teaching scratch. This is for women. So you pound him in the nuts, and then when he releases, you slap him in the eyes. Like you pound him in the eyes. And it's just like these are it was actually kind of interesting to see that, like, because it seems like a very macho... It's a very macho martial arts, like kill or be killed.
Yeah.
But basically, it's also a really smart one, which is like, okay, here's how you actually take a person down, punch them in the nuts, and rake their eyes.
If I was dating a girl or married to a woman, I would not want her to be vulnerable to assault. However, I would not encourage her to take that class, because women... See, if a guy swings on someone, it's usually recorded in a police log.
Yeah.
Women, because of their insane level of entitlement in this culture, they feel they're able to swing at people on a pretty regular basis. And if I got in an argument with a girlfriend, which I have, and instead of trying to slap me, which is laughable and harmless, if she just kicked me in the nuts,
yes,
I would consider beating the shit out of her.
Oh, please. What about a sexual assault case like Terry Crews? You can make a huge national news story about how my little girlfriend punched me in the nuts and something like that. Let me go back to Ashley Graham and sex, Matt.
Oh, sure.
So Ashley Graham was interviewed in some stupid women's magazines which, by the way, I think our women's magazines are way more offensive to women than men are ever offensive to women. You read a women's magazine? It really talks to women like they're 12-year-olds.
Yeah, I have read Cosmo just when I'm sitting around somewhere. And, yeah, horrible advice. Yeah, certainly kind of
cheerleader
condescending. Type. It's like his erogenous zones. There's always that. And
but these magazines like Vogue and Elle and all these other ones, they all speak to women, and certainly celebrity ones. Like they're 12-year-old Taylor Swift fans. It's just bizarre how they like.
It's always telling them what to do.
Yes.
It's not like, here's 10 things that are interesting. It's like, do these 10 things, you fucking moron.
Yes. Here's how to do your hair. So Ashley Graham was interviewed, and she said something that at first I thought everyone was making fun of. But I thought, well, actually, maybe she's onto something. So I'm going to ask you. She says the key to keeping men happy in relationships, and herself too in ways, but keeping a happy relationship is lots of sex.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking at first, like, okay, that's a really... male cliche thing that if you just like have lots of sex with your boyfriend or your husband, that they'll be happy and you'll be in love and they'll treat you nice and everything will be perfect. And that's like some old cliche that men just want pussy, and then if you give it to them, that's all they need, and they'll be happy and content and take care of you. And I thought, well, maybe she's right. She's actually right. Everyone made fun of her, like she's doing this like just saying some trite cliche thing.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I don't know, maybe she's actually onto something.
I think
are men really that simple?
Yeah, if you're a woman, and women have different varying degrees of how sexual they are, but obviously, okay. So for a woman, sex is anywhere from 10 to 30% of the relationship, maybe even up to 50% of it if she's a real skank.
But if she was molested as a child.
Yeah.
She has issues, daddy issues.
For me, from my personal experience, it's usually around 75 to 80% of the relationship. In terms of...
For men, you mean?
Just from my own personal experience. I mean, that's just kind of what I'm into.
But she's talking about she's been married for 8 years to a black man, as you pointed out. So she's talking about like in a long-term relationship that like every time they're going to have a fight or every time things sour, that she just like, gets it on with him and everything's better.
Yeah, I think it's a simple point, and it's also altruistic. I mean, yeah, it's just fuck, I mean,
it's not painful. It's not like she's, painful for her. She's doing something crazy. She's just having sex, letting the dude or having sex with him or letting him have sex with her if she's not in the mood, perhaps necessarily. And then she's like, his whole entire demeanor changes and our fight is over.
Yeah, she likes to have sex, or it's, even if she's not dying to have sex, it's 10 minutes out of your day, whatever. It's not the worst thing. Just let the guy do it.
And also the guy is no longer moping, but he's like, buying you flowers, and he wants to like watch a rom-com and shit like that. Like he cares about your day.
Yeah,
like, and it does actually. I mean, there's a biological, physiological reason why this actually might be very well be true, which is that men their stress levels and all the other things are related to their procreative instincts.
He's more relaxed. He's more confident about himself. His testosterone is boosts. Therefore, he's more effective at his job. He's less fatigued. He's he's thinking more clearly, and that all benefits you in a roundabout way because he's providing to some degree for you, and.
They did a study that always sticks in my head a few years ago. This is why I think Ashley Graham might be right about something for the first time in her life. They took men who were like had high levels of violent tendencies, just people that weren't beating up people, but that were like felt outrage and anger and stuff regularly. And they took them and they checked their testosterone levels, and generally they all had low testosterone levels because low testosterone levels leads to violence, as we see a lot of attacks and school shootings, things like that. And they took them they had a null set of 30 guys who after work got more work assignments, and the other 30 got to go to strip clubs where women basically like just told them how sexy they were and gave them lap dances and followed them and played with their hair and told them what amazing the men they were. And the guys who did the strip club set had much higher testosterone levels after the 6 or 8 week study, and also reported less anxiety, much less stress, and were much less prone to violence than the guys who had not visited the strip club.
Well, I have a theory that I came up with myself, and I should email some professors of criminology and
Yes,
see if
you
there's
should.
any.
They always write you back.
They do, yeah. They don't have a lot going on,
No.
or any fans. But I think the crime drop of the mid to late '80s, or the crime rate being high and then dipping down, may have been the introduction of the VCR and pornography.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean that
being
people
readily available and people owning it and beating off more, and at least if
does
you
that work?
can't
Does
fuck,
is it the same though? I don't know the answer to this. Is it the same? Like, it's not like she said like I'm gonna let my husband masturbate, or like I'm buying porn. She's having sex with them. I'm not sure it's the same effect.
I don't think it's the same effect, but it's.
But that's only because I see.
It's
picture,
like methadone to heroin. I mean, there's some effect.
I picture serial killers in my mind masturbating a lot. Like, I picture like rapists and serial killers and creepy dudes actually masturbating quite a bit, but not having women in their lives.
Yeah.
Like not actually, or doing it with sex dolls or hookers or things like that, versus like a wife or girlfriend, which the research seems to indicate that if it's a woman you're actually having sex with regularly, that you're going to be much less stressed versus, you with your hanky in the basement with a sex doll and some dark web shit.
Yeah, but see, I mean, the majority of crime is committed by, people in their late teens.
Yeah.
Maybe they're virgins. It's
highly aggressive.
I got to at least see what's going on. I might not be able to fuck the cheerleader, but at least I need an anatomy lesson. I need to be able to prepare myself.
Teacher porn.
Much like the Krav Maga, Israeli soldier. Once I go into battle, I need to be well versed. I don't want to get blown up by an IED. Speaking of, they've actually done reports on these guys, like the kids in the suicide bombers in the Middle East, who like either become suicide bombers or attackers, where they're gonna 99% they're gonna die. And they're all young males, and they've all been denied sex their entire lives, and they're not allowed to have sex. So, because apparently, in the Muslim religion, in these fundamentalist things, you can only have sex after marriage. You're not allowed to touch girls at all, except for your wife, which you're not really allowed to touch, but you're allowed to have sex with. Yeah.
And if you're not of a certain status in society of a class, you can never get married. These are all poor, broke-ass street kids. So basically, these are like 24-year-old guys who have never had sex and are told they're never going to have sex again until they get to heaven. And they found that that's extremely they become extremely compliant. Like, imagine you're 24, you've never had sex, and you're told that you can only have sex after you've martyred yourself.
Well, any indoctrination is based on essentially shaming or withholding sex. It's the only way that you can convince people to believe in things that are fucking insane.
But it drives men to the brink of literally taking a grenade and going to attack 100 soldiers where they're going to get blown away.
Well, I mean, their region.
Not entire. It's not just a sex thing, but
destabilized. Yeah, I mean that's crazy, obviously. But is it any crazier than wearing magic underwear and giving your money to some asshole?
I mean, because don't the Mormons have lots of sex? They have all the wives.
They can't have sex until they're married.
Oh, until they're married, yes.
And they have serious hang-ups about sex. I mean, if you just say sex in front of a Mormon, they freak out.
Really?
Yeah.
But they must be having lots of sex, so they have 6 wives, sister wives. I only know from TV shows, sister wives, and the show with.
It's a whole masturbating is bad thing.
Yes.
They really go after the masturbation, so it's like, well, for Christ's sake, I mean. Now I'm just leaning up against the fucking dryer when it's vibrating, like trying to hack it, I don't know. Ashley
Graham may be onto something. I used to listen to. I worked with somebody who listened to the show Dr. Laura. Do you remember Dr. Laura?
No.
She was like the preachy, bitchy, like conservative, a religiously conservative woman who had a talk show like in the 90s. I mean, I think till probably 5 or 8 years ago. Like for 15 years, she was a big. Women would call in. The best thing about Dr. Laura was women would call in with their problems. Like, my husband doesn't do this, or like, and she'd always blame the woman. She was such a conservative zealot. She would always blame the woman. And in the least, she'd say like, well, you married a loser. What do you want me to do? Like, which is kind of interesting. But her book was called Sex and a Sandwich, the key to making a husband happy. And she actually was like, she was no nonsense about the fact, she says like, basically men are pretty simple. If you feed them and give them sex, they will be happy. And like the women complicate the relationship so much and do this and that. And like, they always wonder, how do I make my husband happy? Why is he mopey? Also like that. And she was like, make him a sandwich and have sex with him. And everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine.
Dude, I've said this to girlfriends, and not to sound like a pig, and obviously,
oh no, nobody think that of you.
If you're not willing to do something, I'm not pushing it super hard, but I do all kinds of things I don't want to do when I'm dating a girl. I don't want to pay $100 for dinner. If it was just me, I'd be paying $11. I don't give a fuck about any of this stuff. I watch movies I don't want to watch. I go hang out with people that she's
This is
friends
explaining
with
why you've seen Sex and the
that I
City 1
don't
and 2.
like.
Sex and the City 1 and 2.
I want nothing to do with them. And so
You say it's a tip. It's like
I'm
it's
doing all this, and it's 11 minutes out of your day to do something that you don't hate.
Yes.
You know? So, like, why not? There's this whole stigma about it, and why not just be honest? Like,
there's a weird thing going on because there's all these studies out now that women are having a lot less babies, and it's related to having, of course, a lot less sex because that's where babies come from, Matt. I don't want to blow your virtue bubble, but even if unintentionally, having lots of sex will generally produce children, whereas having low levels of sex will generally not produce children, even regardless of what other methods you're taking. That women are having, white women in particular, are having less sex, and therefore the fertility rate is much, much lower. They're also having careers and birth control and things like that as well, but it's alarmingly low. Like, they're no longer now. Other demographics are having children, but they're not. The Caucasian women of America are no longer reproducing in numbers to replace themselves. I don't know how you feel about that, but that may be related to this whole phenomenon of women's entitlement or however they feel about things, and sort of like taking sex out of their life, taking that whole like female sexual angle out of their lives.
yeah. Well, I don't think we're ever going to get over this double standard of, like, what was I watching? And at the border is women and children. Can you believe it? They're mistreating women and children. Like, okay, if we're obsessed with this whole thing of equality, I don't want a special designation for the women. You get to get abused just like the men do.
Yes.
Okay, if that's the way you want it. Now, I know you want it both ways, but you can't have it both ways. I'm sorry. The children part, I agree. There should be a double standard with the children.
Well, women have always been held sacred because not only are they seen as weaker, but they're actually, anthropologically needed to reproduce the species.
So are guys.
Yes, but you only need one guy.
Yeah.
They were literally. We were sharing that story about the guy who had the sperm donor who had 67 babies. So literally, you only need like one guy for every 10 women, conceivably, and that's the way I think it works in the wild mostly. The dominant male of the pack has sex with all the women,
right? And
the other guys just hang out and look kind of sad and do some work. So yeah, you definitely need women. You don't need a lot of men. But I agree, it's a weird double standard. I thought the best part about the feminist movement of the equality movement, the feminist movement of the 70s, 60s, and 70s was that in the 80s and 90s, women were very open to sexual relationships before marriage. Because it used to be a woman was told, hold out because that's what you have. And then the feminist movement told them, no, you should have your own orgasms and enjoy yourself. This is your body, your life. You can be just as sexually ambitious as men are and then still have married and have kids later on if you want to. And that worked out really well for men for a long time. Right. Because imagine what you used to have to do, like in the old days when you had to like either get married or go to Tijuana to find a lesser lady to have sex with because the educated woman you're seeing would not have sex with you before she was married. But now women were having 10, 15, 20 sex partners before they got married, and they had to have sex with somebody. So the guys in college and after all this stuff were really benefiting from casual sexual relationships. I don't think it worked out so well for women. I mean, outside of maybe enjoying their sex, sociologically, I don't think it worked out very well for women. Right. Because they started putting off getting married and they sort of lost that power, the power of the pussy a little bit. But Ashley Graham, I'll say this: she's heavy set, and you didn't like her outside the Panda Express. Was she going for the 3 entree order, not the two entree order?
It was a big bag. Yes. I mean, I have a friend who's a fat ass.
Yeah,
and we were going through the McDonald's drive-through, and he was telling me how he'll go to like different locations because he's ashamed. Oh, really? That he thinks the woman will be judging him if he orders too much food. And I go, bro, why don't you just pretend that it's for a group of people?
Yes.
Which is what Ashley Graham, I believe might have been doing, because she had like 3 boxes stacked up.
Yes.
And we don't know. Like, yeah, you can be like, oh, yeah, just cater, just picking something up for the family. Well, you don't know where the person's going after that.
I'm guessing, by the way, the people who work in the McDonald's drive-thru line, not the most judgmental people in the world.
That's what I said to him. I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind.
It's not like the PTA mom like judging you. Or like, they're like, it's all mostly unhealthy people driving through there all day long. If you say please and thank you, they're probably happy. I can't imagine like, dude, do you need those? Do you need those extra nuggets? Are you sure?
Yeah, as
like,
if they care. Well, I saw the same thing when I was in college. Some fucking dickhead resident advisor saw a can of beer in my dorm, and I had to go to this alcohol class. And
how'd that work out for you?
No, I was a dick about it. But they have a checklist. It's like, you ever have a beer in the morning? And you're like, well, I think everyone's done that at football, something like that. You ever have any seizures? No. And then one of them is like, you ever go to a different liquor store because you're ashamed of what the liquor store guy thinks? And I'm like, I don't give a fuck what the liquor store guy thinks about me in any respect. Who's writing this? But I guess this is a common thing. People feel judged by clerks who don't even notice them.
I think it's probably more so older people and women, I would guess.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a liquor store owner judges people based on their liquor drinking habits, as that's his business to get you to drink as much as possible.
Even if he did it wouldn't occur to me to care about it. I'd shoot up heroin in front of the guy if I felt like
he's selling liquor. His job is to sell liquor. Like he's
he's high and mighty or something.
Judge you on that shit. Matt, I want to ask you about my genius idea for safe spaces. So I came up with this idea. So everyone's bickering about social media platforms and like how you're getting cut off, or Facebook. And I've had this happen before. I haven't been deplatformed, but like where Facebook says I can't print something. Literally anything you write about Trump now or whatever, a joke, it gets like censored as political, and they want you to like send in your verify your address that you're not Russian or some shit like that. It's just bizarre. Really? Yeah, I wrote a thing about racism, and they're like, "Oh, that topic is likely to offend people. You have to they want your ID. They asked for my ID.
That's not good.
No, like they said, if you want to promote any of this type of stuff, you have to send us your social security number, and your driver's license. I'm like, well, first of all, I'm assuming you already have copies of that somewhere from Peter Thiel's company. I don't know, but like, no, I'm not going to give you like more information than I would give like the government when they insisted upon it, or a job application. It's ridiculous. But so everyone's complaining about like the hate speech, and then the people who they get shit taken off. The packs on Twitter, like demanding Twitter take people down for comments that they find hateful or offensive, and then the people who are writing the offensive or hateful stuff, even if it's just comedians or whatever else, are complaining about how they're being censored. So here's my idea, and it just seems like a very plain language, logical, simple conclusion, but I think it works. You have like Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, YouTube safe, right? Like the safe version of it, which is entirely censored, monitored. All the Moroccan guys who do the Facebook censoring are making sure there's no nipples anywhere.
It's like a PG rated.
Yeah, and not necessarily for children, but just like they err heavily on the side of censorship.
Nothing edgy or provocative.
Yeah, like the old FCC would be with like network television, like practices and standards and practices. Like there's gonna be like 50 rules. It's gonna be enforced by algorithm. If your stuff is getting, if you're doing a breastfeeding photo, but somehow they take it off because of breast, too bad. This is the way it is. It's super safe. Mm-hmm. Nobody will ever publish or have to read anything offensive on there. And then you have the regular, the Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, whatever. And by the way, you can do these things now basically in your settings, security and profile settings. I mean, you can block anyone you want. You can, make sure you don't see whatever kind of content. It's not accurate. But this to me is like the very simplistic but obvious solution to this, which is you can choose to be in the land where you might be offended, or you can actually write harsh things if you want to.
So just have like a firewalled, like Chinese government style.
Well, you would, when you log back in again, it would say, do you want the safe space version where we censor all types of hate speech, broadly based, certain words are not allowed, certain thoughts are not allowed. You can't write about partisan whatever. You can't write anything partisan, all this kind of stuff. which is fine because you can share your salad pictures and your baby photos and all the stuff, which is these things were sort of originally meant to do. And then there's like open Twitter, whatever, where like we're gonna unless you write something unless there's something criminal you're doing, pedophiles or openly inciting violence, we're gonna let anything go.
Yeah.
Right.
And the slug line should be for when you're not a little bitch.
Yes.
Open Twitter.
That's what I said. One would be like one would be for minors for sure, and women who go to SoulCycle, and drink cold pressed juice. Can't be warm pressed juice, man. It's got to be cold pressed. And the arrest would be for people who can handle the fact they're going to see shit that bothers them.
Well, here's what
grown up. I call it Twitter grown up and Twitter safe.
I think what would happen is no one would want to admit that they're, the annoying vocal minority that everyone hates, that is offended and needs safe space and is triggered and all that. So they would just go on. They would not understand the meaning of it, and they would go on the dirty site and still get offended. And then someone would say, "Well, there's a site for you to use," and they would say, "Like, no, I deserve to be on this." Like, So then you'd have to have. I mean, and then you could.
Well, they could be on the grown-up site and the open content site. It's just that when they file their community standards bitching, that it's just ignored.
Yeah.
So like
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it would be unless it was some kind of criminal stuff, and then the criminal stuff should only be referred to the police. Like the platform itself would not judge what was indecent. They would turn anything that was seemed that way over to the police to let the police decide, as they should, instead of they themselves making decisions about this. And if it's not criminal, they say then you can write what you want. You can still ignore and block people, of course.
Yeah.
You don't like, or block sites you don't like, or outlets you don't like, or follow who you like. Set up your own feeds. All you can do now, but you're not allowed to bitch or complain. You cannot complain or try to get somebody thrown off, or you can certainly call someone indecent and call them a hater, but they will not be ever censored.
I just don't think it would sink into these people. Although maybe, like you said, if they realize there is no recourse, then they would eventually stop trying to kick people off.
Well, I would tell my mom to go on the safe one, right? And I would tell if anyone 18 and under would be forced to be on the safe one.
Well, what Facebook and Google want is for their regular sites to be the safe one. So when they kick people off, sometimes it's the hardcore, right wing, like the Nazis, but then they'll also kick off like the hard left, which traffics in some conspiracy theories and is this for socialism and hardcore socialists. But what they're doing, so the hardcore right is dangerous for the most part. I mean, in terms of advocating hate crimes and things like that, and race wars and shit. And the hardcore left is not dangerous because they're just a bunch of fucking lunatics and they sit around and jerk off and eat pop brownies and who cares? But
that sounds awesome.
In order to not sound biased, Facebook, when they kick off a right wing person or site, they have to kick off someone on the left. I don't think they all we're left with is mainstream, because anything conspiracy related, if that's going to be flagged, all you're going to be left with is stuff that's been vetted by ABC and the New York Times, and they have their own agenda. Obviously, we all know that. So I think the point is to make the internet as mainstream as the fucking mainstream media is right now, and it's working.
It is working, and man, I understand why there's a whole bunch of reasons why they're doing what they're doing. And by the way, they don't really kick people off all that often because it's such a public thing to do. But what they do is they put them in this Coventry position where none of their content is seen by anybody. They can't promote anything.
They fuck with the page rankings. And you get less views.
Yes, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, they just lump you into the whack job category if you say something that's maybe not exactly towing a party line. Yeah, or if it's modestly R-rated content, sexualized content, grown-up jokes, the kind of thing that we actually all find very funny. In fact, I saw that you was that you? I think liked a tweet about abortion. Was that you? I can't remember.
I think it was you. It was something about how some woman wrote how it's kind of funny about how she's sick of seeing photos of babies and how people say how they take my breath away, And so she got an abortion and literally took a baby's breath away. I thought it was you who liked that joke.
I might have.
But I was like, oh yeah, I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose. I mean, that I'm sure I don't want to lose that person. I mean, there's the only interesting people are the people that are sort of edgy, very edgy, and of course, 10 million people be offended by a killing a baby joke. But I think that's why you have safe version and you have the grown up version, and you can switch back and forth. You can have. There's a reason why you can't switch back and forth or change your mind or have an account on each or whatever else it is. But there'd be just one where people can't bitch and they have to accept the fact, like, I hereby agree that I will likely be offended, disrupted, triggered, whatever the fuck it is, and I can scream and yell, but I can never get anybody kicked off or demoted in their rankings or all that kind of shit.
I think it's a great idea, and that is if there was a version of Twitter like that or Facebook, or if they simply had that designation, I would certainly be using that.
Because you can always say, people always say, like, oh, you can start your own platform where you can do there are these other totally free outlets, but they're minor in comparison in size. So I mean, Facebook has 2 billion users, so it's not the same as having like some guy with an open source bulletin board with like 2,000 people on it. It's just not the same. And then the other problem is that people run businesses off these platforms now, and then their business gets affected because people go nuts on their business when they say things or do the wrong things or have the wrong, political position, whatever it may be. People are conducting actually their livelihoods on these platforms now, and then they get affected as well. So it's a big deal when you get demoted. When you get demoted on, there's literally business go out of business when they get demoted, like on Facebook. So it's not insignificant. So Facebook grown up and Facebook safe.
I like it.
That's what I'm going for. Matt, I want to ask you about The Masked Singer. I know The Masked Singer is on your DVR. It's your favorite show.
Oh, God.
It's on ABC. I thought it was an Onion piece when they introduced this show, The Masked Singer. And basically what it is people are I don't even understand why instead of like just regular masks, they wear these giant cartoon masks. Like the last one was a pineapple head. One was like a shark head. I don't understand that other than the show originally came from Japan where they're a bunch of fucking weirdos.
Well, there's the visual, obviously, the visual aspect. There's not a lot going on the show, so
no.
you need a little eye candy.
But you wouldn't have the idea of like a masquerade ball is very mysterious and who's the hot girl behind the whatever. But having them in giant balloon head masks sort of takes away from the idea that this is like the sexual side of mysterious and more of like the Disneyland kind of stuffed animal character. It's kind of mysterious.
It's super jappy. I mean, I had assumed this was like a foreign, like an Asian show that had been brought over, or even a Latin show, but you said it's Japanese, right?
I think originally the idea came from Japan. The original show was in Japan, I believe.
Yeah.
Where they love, and the Japanese love stupid ass fucking TV. They love like absurdism. They're really into absurdism on TV in Japan.
Yeah, they're not hung up on like artsy stuff.
No. They're like, have you seen bug fights?
No.
Where they get giant bugs of different species and they have them attack each other?
I'd watch it.
Yeah, it's just like, scorpion versus sucking some killer spitting cockroach.
The best one is the quiz show where the guy's getting jerked off behind the a curtain, so you can see his upper body, but he's getting jerked off by this hot model. And what is it? Whoever you answer question, the coming is involved.
You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to come. And so it's like who can last the longest, and then the judges just oodle and gawk and giggle and stuff. And
it's whoever answers the most right questions before coming. Know. I think that's what.
But the worst part is they have a box that covers up the girl blowing the guy, right? So that's inherently the most interesting part of the entire staging.
Yeah,
is that there's a hot chick blowing this guy, and you can't see that, so you can only see his face twisting and contorting.
I love it. That's the best part for me.
Yeah, but then they have this thing where like the female, somehow Japanese females have to pretend to be very coquettish and submissive, and they have to giggle a lot. Mm-hmm. They could be a professor at a university, they have to giggle a lot. And they have like the girls go, oh no, like they're pretending like they're really been put into this obscene situation. Like you're a judge on a show where people are getting blowjobs. And you're, oh no, what's happening? Like, they're pretending to be like in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
Like, oh no, why am I watching this? This is horrible. Like, well, this is so obscene. Why am I watching this? Like, this is your job, actually. You sign up for the blowjob show. But Masked Singer, I don't understand. So they did the first reveal season show, and someone tried on social media tried to explain to me why it's actually a good show, and I gave up trying to listen. But the first show, they have people sing, and then they bring in, like, I thought the idea of the Masked Singer was they had Justin Bieber and Taylor Swift and, Christina Aguilera, and the whole idea is you don't know who's singing the song.
I don't picture them volunteering for
No, of course not. But that's what I thought it was like. You're going to get famous or talented singers, and then they're going to do a show where you don't know who you're judging, and therefore it's completely honest. And then you're going to see like some, Celine Dion is being kicked off because she's in a tomato head because she sang some horrible song. And so you're kind of like actually ripping on the talents of these famous singers. Then I realized they would never do that.
Right.
So the first singer kicked off, pulled off his shark head or where the fuck it was Antonio Brown, the wide receiver for the Steelers. Like,
really?
Yes.
That's so random.
It is it's like, well, so it's like Dancing with the Stars, right? Where they have these sort of D-list, non sequitur contestants, athletes, or just weird celebrities. The one the other night was Tommy Chong pulled off his pineapple head. You saw the clip where Nick Cannon. I don't know how Nick Cannon gets hosting jobs, but somehow
I have no idea.
I knew when he was married to Mariah Carey why he got jobs. I don't know why he still gets work, but I guess he's like, I don't want to call him the whitest black man. That seems very racist, but he seems to be the go-to black guy for shows for white people. Yeah. I'm not sure how to phrase that in a nicer way. He's yelling like, "Take it off, take it off."
There's a large portion of this population of this country that still finds a black guy to be like kind of a novel thing.
Yes. Or like he's edgy, inherently edgy.
Yeah, it's some weird thing. Like there's black comedians. It's not as much anymore. But even in like the early aughts, there's there'd be black comics that were like horrible at doing comedy, but white people would laugh their asses off. Like they were afraid to not laugh at
I think they are. I honestly think this is such a desire not to be seen as racially insensitive, that there's a bending over backwards. I mean, there's still obviously much more negative racism against black people than there's positive benefits.
Yeah.
But there is that weird white people thing where they have to would never speak ill of like a black artist just because you might be seen as racist, which is the point. We're not at the equality point where you can judge people freely. And Nick Cannon ought to be judged because I don't know what talent he brings to any project. But as he's yelling, like, take it off, and then Tommy Chong reveals himself under a pineapple head, and then Ken Jeong, who's one of the judges, like, they close-up shot of him, like, grabbing his head, like, in complete and utter surprise, and, like, he's just seen the lunar landing, like in 68. Like, I mean, just, like, he's, like, screaming like a little schoolgirl, like Tommy Chong, who you and I agree, I think, could walk down the street of any city in America and not be recognized by anybody.
Yeah.
He looks like, especially now, we're 30 years away from Cheech and Chong. He just looks like an old stoner dude, like an old hippie.
But the hallmark of every crappily, thrown together produced show, they cut to the same reaction shot for every single person that's revealed. When they were saying to these 22-year-old extra chicks, like, okay, you don't get to go home. I've been involved with this.
Yes.
We're not going to let you leave because you're non-union until you really embarrass yourself and act. So, like, you think you're excited now? Take it up 1,000%. Act like you're on meth and you just came for the first time. And so they show these 25-year-old chicks like, oh, my God, I can't believe it's Tommy Chong.
Yes.
What 25-year-old person knows who Tommy Chong is, and if they do, would be excited that that's the guy?
What 25-year-old girl knows who Antonio Brown is? I mean,
none of them.
None of them. Like they pull off, like they do this thing where the music ramps up and then everyone's screaming. They pull the mask off, and I know what Antonio Brown looks like, and I know what Tommy Chong looks like. But first of all, I wouldn't scream, but I would just not expect them to be on a singing show. So
they would cut to us like, what?
Yes,
the fuck.
And it's not like Antonio Brown's even the most famous football player, and Tommy Chong's certainly not. He's a D-list at best celebrity. So it's not like even someone that like everyone, even someone like, it was like David Hasselhoff pulled off the mask. Everyone would know who he was.
Yeah.
But people don't even recognize Tommy Chong. And then they're screaming at like, oh my God, it's Tommy Chong. Like, and then people, they watch the show and like, who will be the next big superstar?
I would like a Japanese style version of the show that's based on genitals. So they have a celebrity, and then so they show a chick bent over, but just she's wearing a mask or something, and the same with the guy's wang, and they kind of it's like a 20 question thing, and you try and figure out who it is just based on their genitals.
I would watch the female version of that, I believe. Although even that would become, I think, very tawdry very quickly.
It wouldn't be hot.
No, it feels like a Larry Flint show, like a Larry Flint show, like a beaver shot show.
Yeah.
Like just like still long, slow shots of genitals. Yeah, not gonna hold.
But you don't think it'd be entertaining trying to guess whose dick it is?
It would be probably. I bet porn obsessed people
vagina?
Porn obsessed people can probably judge us from stills. I would imagine it would certainly be better than Masked Singer. I don't even understand like the basis of this show of why you watch and what you wait for. I mean, I understand it like American Idol talent show, where like your amateurs, supposedly amateurs, are competing and someone's going to win, someone loses, and they have to sing, and apparently the best singers win or whatever. There's some sort of competition. This just seems like people who we never want to hear sing or would expect know how to sing are singing poorly and then taking these giant Mardi Gras type head costumes off and revealing themselves to be somebody nobody recognizes that everyone screams at, pretends they know.
It's the dumbest thing ever. See, I had initially thought that the suspense would maybe go on for a few episodes, and then it would be revealed that it was, like you said, a professional singer such as Christina Aguilera or something. But if you're not a singer,
I don't know.
Then the whole thing is arbitrary. Why is it singing? It could be anything. And then if you don't know the person from singing,
right?
If you had to bet in Vegas, like I bet I can last this, because you could sing like Elvis or you could sing in a high. No one would ever be able to guess based on the singing if that's your goal. So what the fuck is the point of the show?
I don't know. I was even Dancing with the Stars, which I've never seen, but I understand what it is. It takes like Antonio Brown and Tommy Chong, and he was on the show, and I think he might have been too, and forces them to learn how to dance.
Yeah.
For like 6 weeks, they actually rehearse really hard and learn how to dance so that they are not horrible dancers. And then they get judged on how well they dance. Mm-hmm. And I would never fucking watch that show. But at least I understand. Again, it's a competition where you have to learn a skill. These people it's not like they were being trained to sing. These are just guys who think maybe they sing well in the shower, or maybe just they got cast by the casting director because they were willing to do it. I don't understand this whole thing. And it just makes me want to cry. It makes me want to cry that people are watching. Like it's like, I get if you're watching good programming. I get if you're watching sports. If you're watching this, I'm just like, what the fuck what are you doing?
Well, I think
what are you doing?
I had a theory that, I hashed out, I think with you, it's not, it's half-baked theory, but, because China's like owning all of our debt and this country's spiraling into, what we have right now, and it's not great. And, in a few years, a few decades or whatever, with the Eurozone and all that, we won't be the economic superpower that we are right now. And if you look at Japan, I don't think when they had, colonized much of the Western world, and they were into enslaving people and killing people, I don't think they were doing the weird, goofy, stupid shit back then. I think they were into like samurai fights and sumo wrestling. And then as soon as they got knocked down a peg and, they got bombed nuclearly, they started getting into perverse, embarrassing style.
Panties in the vending machine.
Yeah.
Schoolgirl porn.
Yeah, and I think that with Trump and Mnuchin and all that shit, I think this is a sign of where we're headed. I think we're turning Japanese.
Ah, like the song.
I think I
forgot
the lyrics.
I would argue that we've always had idiotic show. I mean, we've always had idiotic shows. I feel like in the past there was a certain percentage of people who openly mocked people who watched those shows. That it was like understood that it was a stupid. I mean, you look back. I mean, some of them were not. They were intentionally stupid or they were dumbed down. They were all produced by intelligent people. At least the scripted program.
Like Hollywood Squares is the stupidest show.
Yes,
maybe ever.
Yes,
and stuff like that.
Yes, and those have been around. And The Price is Right, where the fat ladies jump up and down for the washing machines. And the bar hasn't been that high. The new thing now is it's in prime time. So it used to be for like unemployed people in the afternoon or women in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Or the morning, like The View, which kind of shit. But now it's in prime time, which means they're getting much bigger numbers. They're promoting it much more, and they're expecting 10, 15 million people to watch these things. And I suppose they're getting them. I don't know. I mean, the shows are relatively cheap to produce because it's called unscripted, so nobody owns any of the the network owns the content whole and whole. They have to pay the judges, but they got Ken Jeong and these other people. They're not getting paid that much. Nick Cannon's not pulling them that much money.
Right.
I don't know. It made me sad. I just saw it, and when I realized it was real, I got really sad. It's just like I got really sad thinking of people watching this, like, and then reading the stories on Entertainment Weekly. Everybody's promoting the shit out of it, so they're spreading money around. Obviously, Disney, ABC owns everything now, so you'll have 15 leading entertainment media magazines covering it like it's the best thing ever.
Right.
So the media is getting paid to advertise. So they're in. And by the way, they no longer even bother to write these are paid promotional stories. They just do blatant promotional stories without mentioning that they're being paid by ABC, Disney. Maybe not directly for that, but for other shit.
Yeah.
They're like Entertainment Weekly. Like 15 of them just wrote, like, I got in my social feed like 15 positive stories about the crazy Tommy Chong, like, who was under the pineapple. You'll be like literally like a real magazine, right? Like, you'll never guess who was under the pineapple, revealed secretly here. Like, what? Like,
it's like a package deal. Like,
yes.
You gotta pretend to care about this
fucking
idiotic
horrible thing. Matt, I want to end the show today in our Pennies at a Bunch segment with something you wrote on mattralston.net. You should visit mattralston.net. You can see Matt's inner workings. That's scary. And then forget Facebook. Say for Facebook grown up, you should just call the police on Matt. There's something going on. Ed Buck's secret diary doesn't read as harshly as mattralston.net. But you wrote a weird thing about which I hadn't really thought about. I know you had to think about nurses. We were talking about your nurse thing before.
They're gross.
Yeah, gross. And then I think you just carried that same idea over to doctors, and it's basically called pretty much almost all doctors creepy perverts.
Yeah,
right.
All doctors are creeps.
Which is, on the I sort of get the superficial aspect of that, which is like these are probably the kids who grew up fascinated with the human body. Most of them, right?
It's creepy.
Those are creepy kids, right? Yeah. Although I think I would guess a large portion of people that go into medicine. First of all, there's a lot more women now. There used to be all men, and now there's a lot more women. Are the women as creepy or just the men?
Oh, equally creepy. I mean, I've delineated, I think a podiatrist is less creepy than a proctologist, for example.
Yes. But I love my proctologist.
All creepy.
You think like all the Asian women flooding into medicine now are as creepy as the old white guys, or is it going to be different in the future?
No, I think they're all creepy. I mean, depending on, so for example, a male gynecologist.
Well, that's weird.
Very creepy.
Yes.
I don't think a female urologist is as creepy as the male. I think the male gynecologist is the creepiest man.
I don't understand that
on Earth.
I assume they're all like the USC doctor who was asking girls questions about who they were dating and if they like to wear short skirts, and then took pictures of them, their vaginas, and did all sorts of weird crap for 25 years. And everyone went, oh, that doctor, he's so nice. There's no way he's doing this shit. I'm like, no, he's a male gynecologist. He's absolutely positively doing everything they're talking about.
Super creepy. And if you're into pussy, which I am, that is the last job I would want.
Yeah, I don't get that.
It's not like a porno where you have the one anatomy chart and then models come in and start blowing you. I mean, you're looking at obese pussy, diseased pussy, wide pussy. You're all kinds of problems.
I have never understood
off, gangrenous.
Yeah, I don't know gangrenous vagina, but I mean the male gynecologist is always. I mean, I know in the old days it was only male doctors largely, so you had to see a male OBGYN. There just was no other option. But I don't understand why women would see a male doctor, or why a male guy would be a vagina doctor.
Well, I don't understand. Yeah,
I mean the money is amazing, I'm sure.
Well, why does any of it exist? So if you take me, you take Matt, and I graduate college, and I'm in a general medicine program, and they go, "What do you want to work on?" And I go, maybe hands, maybe some veterans, or I can change their hand on, give them a fucking robot hand. And they're like, well, you'll make 15% more if you only look at people's buttholes. And I would say, I still think I'm going to stick with the hand thing. And, I'll just downsize a little bit here,
You know what I've learned from my butthole doctor, Matt?
No.
The worst part about visiting any butthole doctor is not when they invade your butthole. But when you're in the exam room, and there's a series of exam rooms next to each other, and doctors also have notoriously thin walls between their exam rooms. For some reason, they've decided that they're just going to use cheap plaster wall between examination rooms. I don't understand who came up with that idea, but they seem to be all in medical professions taking over old office buildings. I guess it didn't used to matter. It's hearing the doctor with the patient before you discussing the other patient's butthole. That is like it's like if you're in the Hanoi Hilton like McCain and they're beating the guy next to you first in the cell and you know you're next. It's like hearing the guy next door go, oh, like like
Lord.
that's it's the anticipation hearing the guy next to you. That's the worst part.
Which is what makes, and the fact that they're doing that. So if you said to me like, okay, you're gonna have to like examine someone's butthole, I'd be like, okay, well, I'm gonna get some sleep. And
Well, it is an optional
power through it.
specialty. You don't I guess in medical school you probably have to do a little bit of, but my friend in medical school, I remember, said he delivered baby. You have to deliver a baby.
Creepy.
And he said it was creepy. He doesn't want to ever do it. He doesn't want to ever do it again.
But you're doing it. So how are you gonna like? I know the conventional wisdom is people compartmentalize this, and I had an argument with a friend. Like, so you're all right. So you're a general practitioner. You're working at USC, fucking whatever, and so you wake up and you say to your kids, "Hope you have a good day at school." And then some homeless person comes in, and they've just lost their vagina in a Sawzall accident, and you go ahead and deal with that. And then some other guy comes in, or you're working in an ER, and his heart fell out of his body, and you got to fucking sew him back up. And then you go eat lunch, and you're like, I'll have the orange chicken. Then you do that another 4 hours, and you're telling me you're not traumatized with a hardcore level of PTSD? Like, if you're a soldier,
it's a creepy thing.
You see a couple guys, cut open on the battlefield. Guys go to therapy for that the rest of their lives, and that's like 2 bodies. You're looking at dead bodies all day, blood, pus, and you're gonna not complain about it and act like I don't want to talk to you at the barbecue. I don't even want that rubbing off on me.
I think most doctors don't. Most doctors don't do that level of most doctors are involved in some sort of superficial examination of patients.
Yeah.
So like my GP, I don't know, he takes your blood pressure, he tests your knee reflexes. He always does that thing like, have you had a prostate thing? And like, yeah. He goes, oh, okay. If another doctor did that, I won't need to do it. Like he's like very hands-offish. Like he's just like, let me look in your ears. Like I'm like, okay.
That's less creepy, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Surgeons.
I have noticed that all of those guys, even the general family doctor, they all have the same demeanor, which is I liken it to Eddie Vedder or a Kawhi Leonard. They'll make jokes because I think they've either been told or just noticed anecdotally that it makes people less nervous or something. So they'll make jokes, but they're very stern, and I'm afraid of them. This
could be a personal thing for you. I don't like them.
Have been.
I just feel like they're wasting. Outside of like specialty surgeons, I feel like general practitioner doctors are just a big waste of time. Because literally they go, I've been through this so many times now, they just take your blood pressure. They do the things that like basically a nursing assistant could do for you. And then they charge you huge, and they, it's all preventative, but they just do the same course of shit. It's a big waste of money. But I will say this, Matt, I've learned that my theory is that the more the doctors are related to an orifice, the funnier they are. And the more they do internal stuff, the less funny they are. So like, at least not funny, but they tell more jokes. So like my dentist and my butt doctor tell a ton of jokes, but my gastroenterologist, the GI doctor, no jokes whatsoever, just humorless fuck.
Right.
So I have a feeling that people who work with the actual openings of the human body have compelled themselves to tell a lot more one-liners because they inherently know they're in a disturbing business.
Yeah.
Whereas the guy who's doing liver or the guy who's doing your stomach or your whatever, your colon or your esophagus, he's just all business.
Yeah. I think the internal guys are the real psychopaths. Or like Ben Carson. There's nothing intellectually different from doing open heart surgery than cutting 2 conjoined twins apart, other than that's something you're real into. It's a fetish for you as a doctor. It's a medical fetish.
You think those are all? You think doctors were just the creepy kids who play with frogs and stuff when they were little? Yeah,
I think they all are, and I think they're all disturbed to some degree. Every doctor I've known, this is only 3 or 4 doctors, they've all either drank too much or smoked cigarettes. And I said to this doctor, why are you smoking cigarettes? Since you're a doctor, you must know it's bad for you. And he goes, what do you know? What do I know that you don't know? We both know it's bad for you.
Yes.
And I'm like, Okay, but it's just weird.
Well, I think
it
dentists,
would
right?
be like
Dentists in particular have a really high suicide rate, don't they? I think it's dentists and some forms of doctors.
yeah, my dentist growing up killed himself.
Yeah, there you go. My dentist, I don't think
Doctors,
and presumably they make a reasonably good amount of money, so it's not a financial thing necessarily. I think that would be a very depressing. First of all, in the very least case, you're working with sick people all day long, and that has to be depressed. That has to be somewhat depressing. I mean, you're trying to fix them, but in the end, you're seeing a lot of decay and suffering and blood and horrible things happening to people. You're not dealing with them at their best. You're dealing with people at their worst.
right.
I imagine, like, I have a friend of mine's sister who does social service work in the hood. I'm like, that's got to be the most depressing fucking job ever. She has to go into domestic abuse, child abuse case every day, seeing horrible shit happening inside people's homes. And she's got a very cheery disposition. I just don't know how you could do that. When she actually gets down to sharing a story of what she's working on, it's the most fucking depressing human misery shit you've ever heard of.
It is, but then couple that with every now and then someone spurts blood all over your face.
Yes. Oh, I wonder how many people actually spurt blood in a given, what percentage of the population actually spurts blood in a given year? It's not that many. Most people, especially in medicine these days, it's all electronic. But I mean, most doctors are not seeing blood, I don't think.
You're seeing people all day. Every day.
ER for sure.
Your only barrier between you and their blood and immune system and guts is a rubber glove. Okay, here's a rubber glove. Stick your hand in this outhouse pot of diarrhea. No, it's fine. You're wearing a rubber glove.
I think it's a hang up. I agree.
Cent.
It's disturbing. I think these are the kids, if you remember from dissection class of the whatever fucking animal you dissected. Most everyone, all the girls were grossed out. All the guys were throwing shit or trying to gross the girls out with the dead animals. And there was that one kid in the corner, the guy who's looking at the organs, he's just like Dexter, in the show Dexter. He's just discovered his passion, which is fucking the aorta of the frog.
Yeah, it's a lineage of creeps, and it used to be before there was a whole lot of science behind it, but it's still the same thing. It would just be like a guy who collected dead people and cut them up, and they're like, wait, explain to me how you're not a dangerous killer. And it's like, no, they're already dead. I'm just into trying to cure disease. I'll just the guy that created insulin, you know how he did this? He just got millions of dog pancreases and put them in a giant blender. Okay. So on the one hand,
normal.
On the one hand, you did create a thing that saved a bunch of people's lives. On the other hand, I don't want to give you an award because I don't want to be anywhere near you. I
think what happened was in movies, they started, it used to be of course, the doctor who was doing the liver studies and digging up dead human bodies was invariably the bad guy, the creepy evil bad guy.
Yeah.
Because you just knew it was. And then they started doing this thing where they had to twist it where you thought that was the guy, but it turned out to be the really nice, well-mannered guy who was the killer.
Right.
The serial killer shows, all the murder shows. There's always a creepy, obvious, disturbed guy. And then it turns out he's actually a good guy, but then the really nice, college grad, fair-haired guy turns out to be the evil killer.
Yeah.
And I think that's just not reality. I think in actuality, it is the creepy guys who play with dead bodies that are the killers.
It's the creepy guys. And in other countries, so you go to a doctor in Uzbekistan, and they're just making shit up. You're I broke my arm, and they're why don't you hump this dog and then put a leech on your balls or something? And you're like, okay, you're the doctor. And, historically, they've just, I don't know. I think they're into fucking with people.
I don't think there were medical doctors until it's a fairly recent, last 100 years phenomenon where they used to have it was just because there were no medical schools. It was just the guy who went to college, educated guy was the town doctor. He wasn't necessarily hadn't gone through all this specific medical training.
Yeah.
But he was the one or two educated guys in town. One guy was a doctor, one guy was the lawyer. That's just sort of how it worked. And one guy was the mayor.
Yeah, so but the lawyer
they had read because they were very little. If you look at before the 20th century, there were very little medical books.
Right.
It was all leeches and shit like that, and ointments and digging up the sort of weeds and stuff. But the actual surgical, opening up bodies, doing all this shit with the blood, all stuff came about in the last 100 years.
Yeah, and back then, 18th century England, the lawyers, they had certain ideas, and you could measure their ideas against practicality, and maybe some of them were bad ideas and some were not. But a lawyer has never said, oh, that thing that we thought was a good idea, that was really a terrible idea. Like, the 3/5 law or something. If they knew it was a bad idea. A doctor, you go to a doctor 100 years ago, you're like, I have a fever. He's like, I'm going to cut you and you'll bleed for a long time. Yeah. We don't look back on that like, oh, we have a different sort of stance on that. Like, no, that was just a guy who had no idea what he was doing. And for some reason, it always involves them cutting you. When the best thing would have been to drink a glass of water. Generally, homeless people got cut up quite a bit. If you were like poor and broke, you got into 100 years ago. You were in a lot of like really horrific science experiments. So at some point, they just gave like the black guys in the military just like fucking syphilis, just to see if they could like that was like, you're right. There's been a lot of weird shit like in the name of science. Like if you in the name of science, you can do pretty much break any sort of moral law you want in the name of science. Yeah. And that's just sort of your backdrop for doing horrific scientific experiments. Yeah, and those guys now are like, if you really corner them, they're kind of pissed that you can't still do shit like that. Yes. Like, they're like, yeah, the Tuskegee is a real stain on our history. But the data is great, Like, all right. Have you ever run into like the awkward thing where you run into your doctor not in the doctor's office? I've run into my dentist. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it was weird. It's awkward. It's like running into an old teacher you had or something like that. It's like awkward because you want to be friendly with them outside the doctor's office, but you realize that they know shit about you. Like they've actually done intimate stuff to you, and it's sort of like you were raped, and you've run into like your rapist, like on the street. You're a very awkward, stilted conversation. Yeah, I didn't. Maybe it's that I grew up in Alaska, but I thought that, and I just had a conversation with a Jewish friend of mine. And I was astounded to find out that his dentist didn't exclusively talk about fishing. I thought that was all of them did was talk about fishing. I just thought it was a thing that dentists did. My dentist does basically like Chelsea Handler's routine. He'll do Britney Spears jokes. Like I don't know. I think they go to like they get like online like like monologues or something like that. But it's always like a few years old. It's always a few years old. Yeah, I had a dentist, a separate dentist from my normal. I was in college, so random dentist anyway. And it was Final Four, March Madness. And he goes, so St. John's, I don't think they're going to win. What are they, the Hot Flashes? And I just stared at him, and I was like, what? Yes. And he was like, oh, the Red Flashes. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know you were doing a bit here. Can you just fucking shoot me up with something? All right, Matt, that's our show for today. You got something you wish to sell, pimp, promote, prostitute, any Ed Buck? Ed Buck might be cooling off. This could be good for your business. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything especially happening right now. What can young black men expect to receive at your apartment by way of narcotics? By the way, the amount I don't know the precise amounts of narcotics it takes to like actually be dangerous. But it seems to me, just from reading the report of the crime from a year and a half ago with Jamel, whatever his name was, a black guy who was killed by the drugs, and it seemed to be a lot of drugs, like not personal use drugs. Like what they found was a lot of narcotics, like enough for 12 people to party. I think it just depends. I mean, as long as you don't have some kind of underlying heart condition, like a Lynn Bias type guy, he smokes crack once and now he's dead, and he was an elite athlete. But I think your average person can tolerate an awful lot of punishment, but you can't imagine lops off your later years. You can't imagine that like a rent boy would have the money to acquire that amount. Like I can see how they would fucking blow a dude to score some crack. They're not going to have like a party full of like drugs on them that they just bring to place. They're not going to have like, I don't know, $800 worth of drugs in their pockets. That just seems like, or $1,000 worth of drugs in their pocket. That just seems like that would have been where the police should have started their investigation, which is how does the street kid who has no money have $800 worth of narcotics on him? Well, I think with any speed type of drug, and there's the physical, the manual aspect of, so you could OD on a grain of salt of fentanyl, right? But when you're actually having to get the weird crackhead lighter out, I don't know where they even sell those, but it's different from a normal lighter, the torch, and then smoke a bunch of shit. Like at least you're actively inhaling and exhaling, and like if I think with what do you call it, speedy
The injections,
stimulants and stuff. Like, if you've ever done coke, you would probably do as much coke as is available. You know, like you don't do some, like you just kind of want to keep doing it, which is what most people do, and that's when
they die. That's when their Hollywood agent, that's when your Hollywood agent ends up in their obituaries.
Yeah, exactly. So
it is an addictive thing. These guys.
I mean, if you're into meth and you know, shooting up meth, like, first of all, you're not like real concerned about moderation and your health at that point.
Also, you know, at some point, I guess Ed Buck's dick is going to be in your ass.
Probably.
And you're kind of thinking like, you're kind of, speaking of my dentist, like when I have any dental practice, I just swallow lots of drugs. So I just know it's going to hurt, and I hate the dentist. So maybe that's, for these guys, that's their dentist. They just like go like, fucking shoot me. I don't want to know what you're going to do to me for the next 6 hours. Just fucking make me not remember shit. Like,
I actually was listening to a podcast, and they interviewed a guy that was almost killed by the BTK killer. And he was one of these rent boy guys. And, you know, he knew that the BTK guy wanted to get really rough with him. So he did ketamine, I think. And he was explaining that you just don't want to be within your realm of, you know, you got to be numb and disassociated.
It's like going in for surgery. You don't want to be awake during it. You want to be like, if you knew something you were going to spend the next, like, even if you were going to have to watch a fucking Melissa McCarthy movie, you might just, because with your girlfriend, you might just want to fucking take a pill and just be not lucid for 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, you know, but I just think you should, because I've been criticized by a few women for maybe overindulging in booze, but I just want to say to them, and I have, it's not a compelling argument, but like, well, I don't do any pills or drugs, so fuck off, you know.
But what does that even mean?
That it just let me get real drunk.
Oh, I see.
You know,
it's not. You mean you're like just an old timey guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not doing anything. You're not doing any Ed Buck type shit.
I'm not gonna OD on Cabernet.
No.
Might just make a few comments about your mom.
Take the edge off. All right, this is Lex. Last Minute. Talk to you next week.
Say rolling around, sitting on doves, can't lie, I was high on shrubs, cooling in my Escalade. Man, I'm paid, I got it made. Take me to your special place. Close your eyes, show me your face. I'm gonna piss on it. Others wanna hate, others wanna love. I don't even want none of the above. I want to piss on you. Yes, I do. I'll piss on you. I'll pee on you. Said your body is a porta potty, and my pee got kicked like a nose can ride.